It's October 1st and Stitch Pink with Moda is starting. So I thought I'd give you a little information about the first block or two. And the first block looks like this. And I've chosen just 2 colors. You can do as many as you want in each block, but I've chosen these 2 colors here. And I want to give you a few tips because the cutting instructions have you cut these measurements just to the exact right size, a very traditional, conventional way, so that when you sew them up, they'll already be the right size. But as we all know, they're not always just the right size. So if you're like me, you like to cut things a little oversized, even if it's just a tiny bit, just to trim them up, and then you'll have perfect units that you can sew together. Because if you start out with perfect units, then you're more likely to have a perfect 12-inch square, 12.5-inch square when you're finished. So just a few tips on making these an easier way to square them up, as opposed to what they show in the pattern here, where you cut squares and then cutting them into triangles and sewing them together. I don't like doing it that way. I've come up with some other measurements for you. So the squares that you'll cut for this, instead of cutting them 5 1/4 like it says in the pattern, you'll cut them all 5.5 inches square. So what I've done on my pattern is just written in here so that I remember to do that and don't go look over here and cut it the wrong amount. So I cut it 5.5 inches square. And then when you do that, you're going to sew them together, draw your line, sew on either side of the line, cut down the middle and press it. You've probably done that before. And then you're going to take your 2 different sets that you have and place them together like this, and have your seams nestled together, all lined up. Draw another line here, sew on either side of the line, and after you do that, you'll open it up and you have your half square triangle. Okay, now it's a little oversized, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your tucker trimmer, or you could use your regular square ruler there, and then you will just take your tucker trimmer on there, put it on there. I'm not giving detailed information on that right now, but if you want more details on how to square up these, I can do another video on that. But that's one way you can do that. So I think it makes it a nice, easier way to do it. And then you have little snowball corners on here on the 4 corners of the square. So that's a nice little added thing to this block too, which is these little corners here. You can use the folded corner clipper or Doug's Simple Folded Corners ruler, or you could use Corner Pop if you have that. So if you've done things like taken classes in Tucker University or Grids Girls, then you might be familiar with a lot of those tools and techniques, and this is a way that you can use those. Why go back to the old traditional way of doing it, which is not as accurate when you already have those tools? Okay, then the second one, I'm going to jump right into that. You'll get this one on October 2nd, and it's a star inside of a star. So again, they have a very traditional way of cutting all these little triangles out and sewing them together. If you like to do it that way, that's fine. You can do that. But if you want to do it another way where they're cut oversized and trimmed down, then I'm going to show you a brief little tip that these are the colors I'm going to use for block 2. So you'll start out by putting, cutting the square that you want for the geese. The big triangle will be the big square, and then the little squares, you're going to cut 4 of them. I have 2 here. You'll cut 4 of them. So your B square will be 4 1/4 inches, and your C square will be 7 3/4 inches, and I've written that on here. Now when you get out your pattern, you'll know what I'm talking about, but you don't have your pattern yet. And then the little one in here, your F square, will be 4 3/4 inches, and your E square will be 2 3/4 inches. There's 4 E squares and 4 B squares. So those are the measurements for those. So then you're going to lay them on your bigger square just like this. Here's the smaller one. You're going to sew on each side of the line, and then you're going to cut that, and I've already done that. I have some samples here. You're going to cut that in half. These were like this. Cut it in half right down the line, the center line. Press it open like that, okay? So that's what this one is. You're going to put this on here. Sew right down this line like I've done here, okay? And then when you have sewed down that line, you're going to cut that again. And here's your flying geese, oversized flying geese. So you can take your tucker trimmer, let's see, what is it called? The flying geese wing clipper. Deb Tucker's wing clipper. You can use any of the block clock flying geese rulers that you have if they're the right size. And you could use your regular ruler if you know how to place it on there for that. And then one of my favorites is the Ultimate Flying Geese ruler. So anytime you want to do those, if you need to change measurements, the Ultimate Flying Geese ruler has measurements in here for doing that, for cutting those out so that you have the measurements that you need. Tucker trimmer tool also, I think, has those measurements in there. So again, this wasn't meant to give you exact details on using these rulers. That would be another video, but just to let you know that you don't have to do it this way, okay? And even Moda suggests doing it other ways. They just gave a traditional way so that you don't have to buy tools to do these. But if you already have them or want to get some new tools for these techniques, then that's an option you have to make. So I can't promise you I'll be doing a video every day for this for 30 days, but we'll do them as we can, and hope you enjoyed it. Find the patterns here daily, and we will keep enjoying this and having fun. Post pictures on our Facebook sew along page too.